So the question that came about was, we understand that we're sitting here, there isn't enough visibility in communities. I do not see IEC in my area. We were told that they are going door to door and educating the youth about, according to IEC, they already have a rollout that has been implemented into communities. So allegedly, they're going to high schools, they're going to colleges, they're going to universities, and they're going to communities. We've never seen them. So what we said to them, IEC, would it be even possible? You are resourceful. Remember, we are a small party. When you are a small party, for you to be visible, you need to use this kind of platforms, because media houses also exclude smaller parties. You want to speak about bigger media houses, that's where you will see the ANC, the DA, and the EFF. Why? It is because they have the capacity and they've got credibility. So if we do not rather have visibility, so it means that we do not have credibility. How do we become credible? We need to collaborate. So we are saying, IEC, we want to collaborate with you. We need to roll out these projects because we are the people on the grassroots. We know where to go. We know where the schools are. We know where IEC is not able to penetrate. Then we can help you to penetrate. We are not saying, give us your material. No, let's do it together. Let's collaborate. So what they told us, that they have programs that are set up by the national and they are rolling it out. But the argument here is, we do not see you on the ground. So how do we know that you are implementing what you say you are implementing? Because if now you can go around the corner right now, you find 10, 15 boys and girls seated around there's this snake thing, they're smoking from one vessel. And ask them about politics. You can even ask them who is the Minister of Education. I doubt if they can answer their question.
I'm Kati Siminya from Politically Incorrect, and I'm here with
Rosalind Tony from Arise Africa.
From Arise Africa. Konje, when did we meet? We met at Johannesburg.
Oh, yeah, by the way, we met by the High Court in Johannesburg. The event that took place, Rally Behind Rally. Yes.
All right, so tell me more about your party.
Well, Arise Africa, Arise Independent Congress was actually established in last year. So why are we on board? We are representing the marginalized. So we are the voice of the voiceless. So we speak for the youth. We speak for the rural communities that are forgotten by the government. And we are also advocating for minority groups and bring big issues that are ignored, such as these ones that we brought today.
All right. So I hear as well that you also represent trying to lower the voting age. Is that correct?
Yes.
Please tell me more about that one.
Okay, so we are here to strengthen accountability. So we're looking at the age 16 in South Africa. That, okay, put it differently. What if I told you that millions of South Africans are affected by unemployment, and they are the youth. So the youth has the power to influence, right? So one is, the future doesn't begin at 18, bottom line. And it begins with the responsibility. So if a 15-year-old can fall pregnant, which I was looking at the statistics from last year, we had about 150,000 teenage pregnancies. When you look at it, the fathers are also 16 years. So it means you are at an age of responsibility. Why are you not included? Why can't you vote? At the age of 16, you can work, you can make decisions, you can parent. why are you not voting? So these are the things that we actually looked at, that they are ready. So it's the moment of readiness. So that is why we wrote to the parliament to say we need to lower the age to 16. Yeah.
Hey, Rosalind, I don't know, man, because me at 16, I was primarily thinking about hip hop, dance music.
Yeah.
You know, my mind was not focused on politics. You
Yeah.
see. So now trying to introduce a 16-year-old, 17-year-old into the world of politics, I don't know if you're trying to rush them into growing too quick or what, but then at 16-year-old especially, our mothers and fathers always try to, protect us from the world, you
Yes.
see.
Yes.
And even in our conversations, even if at school, when we had to talk about politics, normally we speak ignorantly,
Yeah.
you know, about situations of what's going on, right? What does this leader say? What does that leader say? We'd always speak ignorantly, you know. So now, why do you feel that such responsibilities can be
Still upon them.
honed by 16
Yeah,
teenagers?
look, me and you might have been born in the late 90s. I was born in the early 80s, and I can attest to what you are saying, because at that age, I was in matric. At 15, I was in matric because the focus was school.
Right.
The focus was home economics. The focus was hard work. Because remember, I grew up in the rural village of Limpopo, and all we knew was to do agriculture, to do handwork, and. But you look at South Africa today, I want to talk about economics, right? So South Africa, 60% of young people aged between 15 and 24 are unemployed, right? And that is about every 6 young person is unemployed. So it means that the economy has excluded them, right? So in school, they are not taught anything. They have so much time to idle. That is why you find a 16-year-old roaming around the street looking for something to abuse, like substance, toying with sex. I mean, at 16, you should be in sport, which we do not have sporting code in our schools. I think we've been traveling around the country looking at the status score of the schools currently is dusty.
Right.
30 years after democracy. Our children do not have recreation. They are not recreational. All they know what to do is to idle. When they try to look for a job also, they can't find it because they are excluded. So what we are trying to say when we're saying we want to lower the age to their age, we want to vest responsibility. They should be part of the decision-making body.
Right.
Because the problems that they are facing, it's the youth problem. So they need to be included. We cannot even try to come up with solution without them. So the government, what they are doing is excluding them into decision making because they want them to be where they are at. So we want to change the status quo and come up with innovation in terms of politically, I would say it's politically incorrect.
All right. So in that case then, as you spoke so well about that, so what are the potential risks that you foresee?
Well, the risks are obvious, when you idle and when you are excluded.
Okay, basically the potential risk that I'm talking about is including such people like of that age group into such a world, especially a political world, where parents are trying to actually, hide them from the kind of world. And now here you are forcing parents now to actually expose their children into such a world.
Yeah.
So what sort of political risk do you see in taking this kind of challenge?
Well, it's not a political risk. Remember, when you speak politics, you speak economics. The reason why I'm saying that they need to be included, it's economically and politically, is to train them or groom them to be responsible leaders of tomorrow. We need future leaders, which we do not have. The challenges that we are having, it's drugs, they don't have hope. Education rate is too low. for them, so they do not have hope for the future. So when we include them politically, it's to develop that space for them to be able to become part of the decision-making body. So they have great ideas, they have potential to become leaders,
right,
and an icon. Others can look up to them. But if you exclude them, what does that say? It means that you let them to go and become young parents, irresponsible drunkards, substance abusers, and all those negative things. When you look at the country like Australia, not Australia, Austria, beg your pardon, the age has been lowered to now 16. When you check, the rate of unemployment for the country is below 15%. When you look at the rate of South Africa, for that age in particular, we are actually sitting at 45% of unemployment rate in South Africa, right? But when you include the youth between 15 and 24, it escalates to 60%. Why is that? It is because they are not skilled, that's for one. They have matric, but the matric is useless. It cannot take them anywhere. We do not have colleges where they can actually go and study skills that is relevant, your mechanics, your agriculture, your sewing.
Right.
They did away with those relevant courses that could actually help them to even be more innovative. So that is why we are saying this level of exclusion is very dangerous for the country, because at the end of the day, you will end up with hundreds and hundreds of rehabs where now you put them, you've been checking all over social media. They can't even think they are retarded mentally because they are not being groomed correctly. Our youth are idling. Nobody cares. So as Arise Africa Arise, we are saying we came here to be an eye-opener to societies.
Okay, all right. So obviously there'll be diverse opinions, right? Others will be for it, others will be against it, and others will be neutral.
Yeah.
So how do you then find a way to address these diverse opinions that many people will have? Because other people will be parents as well. Remember, there'll be parents, there'll be guardians who'll be against it. Yes, others will be for it.
Yeah.
And then maybe even by the children, because those very 16, 17-year-olds, some will be into politics. I'd say a good number, right? So now, how do you then encourage those young teenagers to follow into the footsteps of economic and political issues?
Okay, society would think that, Rosalind, are you okay? At the age of 16, my child is very immature. They cannot be able to sit around the table and argue, but I say that is incorrect. They are not mature. If they can get an ID, we have a 16-year-old who can start a business, but at the age of 16, the parents will say, no, my child is still very young. But they are also affected by poverty. They are affected by unemployment. They have got adult consequences because a 15-year-old can break a house and take something because they're hungry. So if they can think to that level, it means they have solutions, I'm sitting right at the corner and I'm hungry, and Rosalind's house, I know they have something valuable that I can take it somewhere and exchange it to get money so they can go to the spice shop and eat. Now that is maturity. Now that is innovation. Now that is thinking capacity. Remember, if they get arrested for that act, it means they will have to bear legal consequences.
Right.
So everything affects them. So if we leave them out to say that we are waiting for them to be at the age of 18 years, we are excluding them. So we want to include them into the pandemic that South Africa is facing right now, of leadership, of corruption, of exclusion, of social ills. We believe that they have the solution.
Okay, so how old were you when you were into politics?
Well, I I finished my matric at 16, and I think I was idling for 3 years because I couldn't get into the university. I didn't have an ID then. Means I had to wait for a certain age to get an ID. So I wanted to study law at VETS. Back in the day, 2000, for you to qualify to enroll into that course is 21 years. It has been lowered, by the way. Law degrees has been lowered to 18. At that time, the level of maturity to carry the legal to be in that course for law degree was 21, because they felt that at 21 you're a little bit matured. You can't be coming from high school at 15. You want to enroll.
And in your case, you list 16, 21,
exactly,
a long way.
Exactly.
I get it.
And my parents thought that then I struggled. I think I stayed at home for 4 years. Not doing anything because I was waiting for the right age.
Right.
But the level of maturity at that time, I was already there. The fact that I sat on the exam board for grade 12, it means that I've got the capacity, I've got mental capacity to carry even the law. I could do LLB then, but I was bad. So these are the things that when I reflect back, I look at it and say, but this is an exclusion. So I felt like I was excluded. So I'm sitting here today advocating for something that I had personal experience. Right. Yeah.
So obviously, if you want to talk about 16-year-olds, then schools will be involved, right?
Yeah.
So then, if in that case, then how do you envision the role of schools participating in the campaign that you're trying to push in lowering the voting age to 16?
Look, we were in IEC meeting. They're busy with trainings for voter education and democracy education, right? So the question that came about was, we understand that we're sitting here, there isn't enough visibility in communities. I do not see IEC in my area. We were told that they are going door to door and educating the youth about, according to IEC, they already have a rollout that has been implemented into communities. So allegedly they're going to high schools, they're going to colleges, they're going to universities, and they're going to communities. We've never seen them. So what we said to them, IEC, would it be even possible? You are resourceful. Remember, we are a small party. When you are a small party, for you to be visible, you need to use this kind of platforms, because media houses also exclude smaller parties. You want to speak about bigger media houses, that's where you will see the ANC, the D, and the EFF. Why? It is because they have the capacity and they've got credibility. So if we do not rather have visibility, so it means that we do not have credibility. How do we become credible? We need to collaborate. So we are saying, IEC, we want to collaborate with you. We need to roll out these projects because we are the people on the grassroots. We know where to go. We know where the schools are. We know where IEC is not able to penetrate. Then we can help you to penetrate. We are not saying, give us your material. No, let's do it together. Let's collaborate. So what they told us, that they have programs that are set up by the national and they are rolling it out. But the argument here is, we do not see you on the ground. So how do we know that you are implementing what you say you are implementing? Because if now you can go around the corner right now, you find 10, 15 boys and girls seated around there's this snake thing, they're smoking from one vessel. And ask them about politics. You can even ask them who is the Minister of Education. I doubt if they can answer that question. Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, what steps are you willing to take to educate the youth regarding, electoral processes, political and financial or economic
development?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hence we are here. It means it's part of the campaign that we will be using through platforms like this, your podcast, because they have so much impact and the listenership. And I know for a fact that we're sitting here today, more than 20,000 people are watching, right? So it has to be word of mouth. So we go. Firstly, what we have done is we wrote a letter to Parliament to propose the very same concept that we are discussing here. So as soon as we have any breakthrough, obviously the podcast will be the first to know about the feedback. That's for one. And secondly, we also have been going to IEC offices, speaking with officials to say, would you help us with material? And so as we are going out to do our campaigns and visibility drives, so hopefully we will have material from the IEC. We also said that because they do not want to vest these trainings upon smaller political parties per se, because they don't want the democracy education to be politicized. I don't know what is the distinct there, but for me, it should be on par, on the same level.
Right.
But they have at least agreed that they will send a delegate from their side,
right,
should we have certain things. So we really are gathering so many information to try and find out how possible can we assist the youth. We are also going to other stakeholders like your firefighting departments, JMPD, so that they can also teach them about safety and the dangers of substance abuse. I mean, you have seen lately that there were young people in the school. So as a parent, I expect the school to be a safe place away from home, right? Then when you see things like that circulating in social media where the 15-year-olds, a group of 15-year-olds, even less, are smoking fire extinguisher bottle. So they thought of that gas and they're thinking of this snaky thing that they're always smoking. And they thought that the same smoke that is in that's innovation. You know, you're thinking. That is why I'm telling you the level of thinking, it's there. But it's channeled wrongly because they are not being groomed. If we can deviate that level of thinking and channel it into the correct things, then we will be together, society politically correct, to say that a 15-year-old has a mind of an adult. Yes.
Okay. So I know you spoke about Austria and how they've also lowered the voting age now. But what sort of studies can you produce to say that this is going to be a working formula for the youth? That if you do actually lower the voting age, that perhaps maybe they'll have a different kind of mindset into politics. Because right now they are being educated, right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of education going on in the youth.
Yeah.
It depends on the child himself or herself to take initiative to these things, right? But now, what sort of proof do you have in regards to this topic, saying that this is the route that is actually good for the youth, and this is what's going to help the youth going forward?
Okay, globally, you look at workforce globally. The frames that I'm wearing are from China. I think I've seen a warehouse where the grade R's were molding this thing. They were manufacturing it. This plastic and putting it in a mold and taking it out, and it comes out as a frame for eyes. And I looked at the age. That is a school. So they are teaching them skills that are relevant. So it will help them to enter the workforce earlier. At the age of 15, the child becomes an expert in eyewear frames manufacturing, and they can start their own business, right? So then you look at the education level in South Africa. My child, I have a 9-year-old who's in grade 4 who comes home and tells me about, I didn't study biology at school, but I feel like there's a subject that they're doing at school. The SASA Act has actually endorsed it, where they teach them about sex, about sensation, how they should feel. And at some point, she was even telling me that she's thinking of getting a boyfriend, you know, just to experiment how it's like to hug a boy. And then you look at the social media, where now there's this sensational moves, dances as well. And our children in South Africa glued up to that, right? And whereas when you compare it with developed countries rather, like Austria, Australia, Germany, China, South Korea, where we get these things that we are wearing from, they come from there. And we are looking at that, and the way that the hair that I'm wearing is from China, and a 16-year-old did this. When it comes there, it's very expensive, right? But we can only be, the system is teaching our children to be consumers of products. But you look at this country, we are very rich. Good example. I can give you a good example of in Randfontein what had happened with those people that actually built the shacks on the mine segment where there was gold dust, right? Where they built the shacks. People came from Lesotho. The guys from Lesotho, they could actually identify that, hey, these people are walking the street of gold. They clueless. Also, the entire community, you know, the way they were evicted there by guns. I mean, the people saw gold that they teach them mining. Obviously, they don't know that this is a gold. They don't know that my shack is built on top of a gold dust. But somebody came from another country and say, you get out of here because we need this. And they take it by force and it's illegal. Do you understand what we are coming from? We really want to overhaul the subjects that are being taught in our schools. They are useless. They're not taking us anyway. They are conforming our children to the classroom, from the classroom to go and look for a job for 20 years until they give up or until they commit suicide. At the end of the day, you are depressing them. Teach them mining, teach them agriculture, teach them sewing, teach them production, teach them how to make things with their own hands. I think that is where Arise Africa, Arise is going, with making sure that we go into communities to say, people, wake up, become leaders in your own communities, create your own jobs. The government is not coming for you. We have resources. All we have to do is to make sure that we unlock these finances so that we can be able to build societies that is economical, that is productive.
So don't you think it's more like an educational problem rather than trying to involve politics as well? Don't you think that it starts at the head, basically, that they must actually fix the educational problem rather than trying to actually add more burdens into the youth? Or perhaps in your mindset, you're thinking that if the youth is aware of how politics run, then maybe they have something to fight for. That's probably what I'm getting from you, right? But then don't you think that it starts from the head then? The issue of...
Which head?
Like,
do we have a head? Think about it. Do we have a head?
So the government...
So we are in a country that is headless. So our president is like a headless chicken, because now he cannot see all these things that we are seeing on the ground. What we are saying is Arise Africa, Arise. We are saying empower the youth earlier. Right? When you empower them, you include them in the government, so they know how to govern as well. And then when you invest in the skills, and when you invest in entrepreneurship, then you have leaders, sound mind leaders that are innovative, that are able to create. That's where we are going with inclusion. Include them at any age. Yes.
Yeah, because it also goes back to 1976, where young students also were fighting, were involved in politics as well, right? So maybe that's the same kind of mindset you want the youth to actually have,
Yeah. So you that's an inspiration. The youth in 1976 were very brave. I must applaud that. I was looking at the Solomon Mahlangu lecture recently. I shed a tear to think that at the age of 22, that boy could have been our president, but his life was short-lived. The bravery in the youth during that time, they were sober-minded. they were sober-minded, they wanted to see change. Because they were not comfortable with the situation back in the day. That is why they did not have weapons. The only weapons they had was their bodies and their minds. That is why they had to sacrifice and go on the firing line to say, I am going for this government. I'm going to stop the president. If bullets coming in my body, this body will be a shield for the ones that are coming behind me. So I think we do not have that in South Africa right now. And the fact that you can see ministers in security that are supposed to safeguard the country are the ones that are actually parading and taking bribes and being in the payroll of drug lords from Brazil, from Nigeria, from wherever the place is. It means that they do not care. So for us is to say that before they deal with the youth, because they are dealing with the youth, and that's where I'm saying there is proper minds there. That is why I'm telling you that they're very innovative. If they can see that there must be something in a fire extinguisher, then this can entice us, we can get high. It means they are thinking beyond. It means they are thinking beyond. But we are saying, arise, Mzansi, arise. Parents, teach your youth to be responsible. Let them join politics. Let them join parties or organizations, civil organizations, so that we are able to collaborate on the grassroots and face the enemy.
All right. Hey, I know that the thing was trending. That fire extinguisher thing was trending. I know a lot of people were mad about it. But anyways, Mr. Roslyn, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you so much for it.
Yeah. Hey, and I'm glad that you speak on this. Seems like a good initiative you want to push, especially for the sake of the youth. Because yes, indeed, like I said, when I was 16, politics was far beyond me. You know, so maybe it can give other kids a chance to know what the world is like out there. You see, shielding our kids, it won't last. You know? At the end of the day, they will know what's going on. You know.
Yes.
So
thank you so much for this opportunity, South Africa. #vote 16 South Africa.
All right. Thank you so much, man. That's Katli Simenya, Politically Incorrect. Thank you so much for joining us.